Welcome to the Ordinary Marathoner Podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Ordinary Marathoner Podcast. My name's Coach Scott. I'll be your host today. Got a great show for you today. Got a great guest. Going to bring her on in just a moment. As always, you can find this and the back episodes of our podcast at our website, ordinarymarathoner.com. Check that out if you get a chance. You can also find them at the aggregators, places like Stitcher, TuneIn, iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, wherever you listen to podcasts. We'll probably be there. You can also find our YouTube channel called Ordinary Marathoner. I've been putting up all the podcasts up on YouTube along with a few other videos, and you can check us over there. Hit that subscribe button if you can. All those subscriptions really help us out. We really appreciate it. I think we're right around 114, but we're just starting with that. We're just getting the ball rolling. Looking forward to keeping the YouTube channel up and going for the near future and the far future. Lots going on. Team Ordinary. We are rolling out Team Ordinary in the next few days. I'm really excited about this. I've been excited about that. This is just a couple of little things holding us up at the moment, but a lot of you guys have handed in your bios already. Really excited about the website, teamordinary.com. You can go and check it out if you'd like. We haven't really officially opened yet, but it is right around the corner, and I am super excited about it. We're really pumped. With that, I'm going to introduce today's guest. She is an amazing woman who just joined our Ordinary Marathoner discussion group over on Facebook, and I haven't really got to know her too well, but over the course of the last, probably 3 or 4 weeks ever since she's joined, she's had a lot of interesting stories. She runs an online group called Shrinking Tacos, which I definitely have to ask her about. And she just this past weekend became a first-time marathoner. Welcome to the show, Sarah. And now I'm going to butcher your last name, which I should have asked beforehand, but I didn't. I'm going to go with the soft L's, Gallegos.
You got it. Hi, I am Sarah, aka your favorite taco.
So how did this, and I got to ask, this is like the immediate question, right? Right. When you throw out a word, when you throw out something like shrinking tacos, that's the primary, that's got to be the primary inquiry here. What is shrinking tacos all about?
No problem. I get asked this a lot, so it's an easy answer for me. So with my ex-husband, long story short, he was known as Yummy Taco. I was Mrs. Taco. I lost about 120 something pounds, and my friend nicknamed me the Shrinking Taco. And so Shrinking Taco just kind of stuck. And so I've been Shrinking Taco since 2013. And when I got divorced, there was a big debate on should I keep the whole taco thing. And my friend made a good point of, you're known as that, you represent as that, this is who you are, you need to own it. And so that was 2 years ago, and I've just owned it. I go to races and people yell, "Hey, taco."
So you got the full tacos in the divorce, in the settlement.
I got all the tacos in the divorce. Lucky me.
So where is this? So where can I find you on Shrinking Tacos? Where is the primary sort of medium where we can take part in the community?
It really kind of depends on what you want to do. I really just started kind of sharing it more to just share my journey and my side of it, and along the way, it's really built up. If you're on Instagram, it's under the Shrinking Taco, just one of me. And then if you're on Facebook, I think it's facebook.com/Shrinking Taco. The difference is the Instagram is more just a picture and a little snippet of what's going on in my life. If you really want to know the background and more about me and really my journey, where I've come from, dog's trying to escape, more of me and who I am and kind of more of the background of me, you go on my Facebook. I do live videos. Usually on Sundays, I do videos where I put on a face mask and talk about what's going on for the week and training and things like that. So just kind of how well do you want to get to know me?
Yeah, it sounds like you have a lot of fun with it.
Personality. It's my page. It's my content. It's me and who I am. I live a life full of, this is my life. I do what I want, and
that's
there is cursing. There's no nudity. So I'm just going to heads up on that.
I don't know if Zuckerberg would go with that. He might be upset. Well, listen, in hearing that, first of all, congratulations on the weight loss. Obviously, it sounds like Now, where in this whole, obviously, it seems like it's been sort of a long journey. 120 pounds, you don't just lose that overnight. Where does running fit along? Were you not running at all, and all of a sudden you're like, all right, let me start shrinking this taco?
Okay, so
that kind of sounds dirty. I got to say, I shouldn't really.
When my boyfriend first met me, we met online through Bumble, and I was telling him I think find me on Instagram. My name back then was just Shrinking Taco, and his first thought was I do Kegels. So, same thing. So,
all right.
Keep it family friendly.
No, we're good.
So I totally lost track of that.
How did running fit in your weight loss journey as a part of that? Was it like a primary thing, or?
I'd really been into just wanting. So okay. I'm really bad at stories. If you're ever on my Facebook page, I squirrel all the time.
You're trying to hold back. Is that what it is? You're just trying to hold back?
In 2013, I had been married at that point. We'd been married like 4 years. And so we were trying to have baby taco. And which anybody that's followed my page knows there's a big journey of
taquito.
Baby taco. No, it was baby taco, baby burrito. We had one of those burrito wrap things. So 2013, we go to the fertility clinic. Go to the doctor, and she's like, hey, if you lose 40 pounds, every doctor's going to tell a fat girl this. If you just lose 40 pounds, your chances of fertility will increase by this percentage. I'm like, okay, we are dead set. We're going to do this. We're going to get pregnant. So I was thinking back on, when I was like 19, 20, I lived in a neighborhood that had a lot of hills, and I walked all the time. And I'm like, okay, I'll just get back to walking. So I would do like daily walks, and the weight started going off, and I was doing these daily workouts and eating better and still having pizza on Friday. And then I decided one day, I should try running. And my very first time I started running, I was going from the train stop to my work. And I remember going from lamppost to lamppost. And I could run that. And I probably overdid it because I was so out of breath. And so that just kind of kicked it off for me. And so I really started doing that. I never got serious as a runner. I always did it for fun. I do races for fun. I never get a PR. My goal is always just sign up, get there, start line, finish, get my medal, get my banana, go home.
$30 for a free banana?
Yeah, and that was 2013. I started Shrinking Taco 2014 in my journey, and I've done 58 races now.
Wow.
Like you said, my first marathon, which I'm still in that bubble of it's not real. And just, it's funny. So tie into the lamppost. So in 2013, when I started first running, I'd go lamppost to lamppost. So on my marathon, one of my goals was every time I saw a mile marker sign, whether it's for the half or the full, I would run. So I stuck to that. And what I would do is anytime there was a lamppost, I would hit that mile marker sign and I'd run until I hit a lamppost. Sometimes it wasn't that far, so I'd go to the next lamppost. And that kept going for the full 26 miles. And I just remember thinking every time I did that, I remember when I couldn't do this. I remember when. And it was, 7 hours of thinking back on where I've come from, where I'm going, what do I want to do next?
Yeah.
It gets addicting, and I can absolutely see why.
Yeah. I got to tell you, so there's a lot to unpack here. We actually have a lot in common, you and I, because I started running in 2013 as well. And I am very well versed in the lightpost to lightpost theory of running. I've done it often, and it seems to work for me too. So the question I kind of wanted to ask you was, rewind all the way back to the first lightpost. That first step you took, how much courage did it take you? Was it just something you're like, I'm doing it, I just got to do it, and you roll out of bed and you just start running the first time? Or would you say it took a lot of courage just to do that first lightpost? Like you didn't, it's like like for me, it was like, all right, who's going to see me down at the path? Who's going to see me, who's going to see me run out of breath in the first quarter mile? How much courage would you say for you it took to take that first step and do the first light pull?
That's a good question, because I really, I've never, anybody that knows me, I do not have too much of a confidence issue. I always live my life on, this is my life.
It doesn't sound like it.
Either you're going to see me and judge me, or you're going to see me and be inspired by me. So those first couple steps, I don't think anybody was really around. It's one of those side streets. And I remember thinking, what are people going to think when they see this fat girl running? And I just did it just to simply do it. And I was like, oh, okay, I did that. Let me walk to this next one. Let's try it again. What really got me really going was I downloaded one of those tracker apps and seeing the progress and seeing the fact that, oh, this day I did this many miles and this day, like, how many more can I do? How much faster can I get? I started seeing my time get better. I've never been a fast runner. Kudos to those that can maintain a 11, 10-minute mile. That's one of my running goals eventually. But right now it's like I'm in my thing. Those first steps, though, you have to take them. You have to take that initiative. You have to just simply get the courage and not give a flying fart what people think.
Appreciate the...
I'm watching it for you. I'm watching it.
I could tell that really took a lot of effort.
There are no flights in this. Other truckers. So it's finding the courage, and that's really something I talk about on my Facebook page. And it's always a matter of stop giving a rat's butt what other people think about your life. It is I've been bullied. I've been put down. I've been all these horrible things, and by people close to me, by people in my circle, by people I call friends. And it's reaching out to people that just think that I'm alone and I have nobody else to do this with. And I just don't know where to start. And every single one of my videos, I think I say something along the line of, if you think you're alone, reach out to me, because I will be there, whether I can be there in person or I can be there to cheer you out online. And that's what helped me through my marathon.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, I love that too. And you see it in your group, you see it in my group. I actually think that within running circles, and especially within beginner running circles, mm-hmm. It is perhaps the only good reason to use social media.
Oh, I've been part of so many different groups, and it's so, you can either take it two ways. You can see these new runners, and I've had you have the attitude of, oh my gosh, these guys are new. I just want to reach in there and tell them what they're doing wrong, because I wished I would have had somebody like that. Yeah. Or you can step back and look at, okay, let's talk. And if you have any questions, let me listen. Because, I look back on these posts and I'm just like, oh my God, why did I buy those shoes? Or, oh my gosh, why did I wear those clothing? These memories that pop up on Facebook or something. I'm like, how I could never now run in a cotton shirt, or I could never go to the store and buy the $35 shoes. And, I always take somebody under my wing and simply say, let me show you what it's like. I've gifted pairs of shoes. I've gifted race registrations. I've gifted different things just to get somebody going.
And that's great. And I think you find that a lot in the running community. I don't know what it is. I don't know why. I think, what it is I think when you find that you really kind of enjoy and you're really getting something out of your experience running, and it's like you want to share it with other people, but it's very hard to kind of throw it in people's face if they don't want to do it. So when they show a little bit of interest and how good it was for you, it's just, one of those things where you just want to help them along. And I think there's just a lot of it in this community, and it's really good that you're able to do that as well.
I've been there. I've been in those shoes. I know what it's like. And I know, like I said, if I would have had somebody reach out to me and say, hey, I still, to this day, I've been running for, 5-6 years. I still don't consider myself an expert runner. I still consider myself a beginner because, there's these keeping up with the Joneses or keeping up with the, the pre.
Yeah.
Whoever you want to keep up with, you're like, oh my gosh, I'll never be like that.
Yeah, I find that, and you're probably the same as me being in the community. Like, I feel like, mm-hmm. So I've been running the same time as you, and I almost feel like I've learned so much just by accident. You know?
Absolutely.
It's just, and so, yeah, I mean, it's like one day you wake up and you're like, hey, you know what? I'm no longer kind of like absent-minded when I'm not an absent-minded runner. All of a sudden, you're kind of an expert by accident.
And it's funny because people ask me all the time about my story with running, and I tell them I've never finished Couch to 5K, ever. I get to week 4 and then suddenly have a race and I quit. I've done one of those run your first mile programs, and it's an 8-week program, and about week 3, I'm like, oh, okay, I ran a nonstop mile. I'm done with this program. And so it's been one of those. I'm a marathoner who's never finished Couch to 5K.
Yeah, that happens.
It's so weird. It's just.
Those plans are hard. Sometimes they're hard to stick by. It takes a lot of discipline, and in order to. Sometimes you got to hold yourself. You feel good on one day, and you feel like you just want to go for it. And it sounds like you're that kind of person where it's just I don't need to wait 10 weeks for this. I am doing week 4.
Yeah, I'm not the best example. Like marathon training. I had a plan for a 20-week plan. I had it up on the wall, up to do it. I got down to the point where, okay. I have my wall. I didn't do anything. 16 weeks. Okay, I really got to get serious on this. Did really good for a couple weeks, and then I started having hip issues, and then the excuses start. Oh, now we got to do this, or oh, now we're about to sell the house, so we've got to do the yard work, we've got to do the renovations, and life happened. And I did a marathon with almost zero training.
Yeah,
I don't think I had ran or done any training for 4 weeks before the race.
Oh, jeez.
Am I paying for it now? Not really.
Well, you said you got a little blisters, but let's.
I have blisters when I trained for a half marathon, so I don't know.
So did you? I mean, you might not have done the couch to 5K or anything like that, or any kind of, or you have trouble doing training plans. It sounds like, but did you at least take the normal sort of slow pathway towards the marathon? Did you do did you graduate from 5K to 10K to half marathon?
My first race ever was a 5K. I did on a treadmill with a friend. I missed the race. My very first race I missed, and did it quote unquote virtually. My first road race was a 10K. That was October 2014. So I just kind of jumped into it. It took guts to do my first half. I see all these posts on, I'm training for a half marathon. And then I realized it wasn't for like 3 more years. And it was, I kind of slowly built. I got comfortable with 5Ks, and then I got comfortable with 10Ks. And then I decided one year I was part of a training group, and we're like, okay, I'm going to finally do a half marathon. And I did it. And that was, that same feeling of, holy crap, I just did that. And I see the video of that one too, and I remember a friend of mine that ran with me. She handed me my medal, and it was like this feeling of, okay, I want to do it again. And 3 weeks later, I did my second half marathon. I decided the night before to switch from the quarter to the half, and that theory of, oh, so and so can do it, I could totally do it. And I ended up, that's my PR race, and I slowly made it, but it's taken too long. But at the same time, I wouldn't go back and do it any other way.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, it's kind of like that feeling when, like you said, it's kind of, you graduate to the next one, you get more comfortable. And then, one day you kind of go for the granddaddy, right? You're like, it's like I've been running for years now. And now now it's time to do the big one. So what made you decide? So which marathon did you sign up for?
The first time?
No, well,
I signed up for 5.
You've signed up for 5. You just didn't show up to the other 4?
I paid the registration and signed. Yeah, actually, 2 of them were the Garmin Marathon in Kansas City at Garmin headquarters. I actually was an ambassador from this year, and it was one of those. I signed up the first year. I signed up. I'm going to do this marathon, and then I realized I was starting to get bronchitis. I'm going to drop to the half, and then about 2 weeks before, I'm like, I have bronchitis. There's no way I'm going to run. Yeah. So I dropped that one. And then there was another one. And it was just one of those excuses got in the way. And that's what really pushed this one was I did an Apple Tree Marathon. It was in Vancouver, Washington. So 1, it was at low altitude. 2, it had an 8-hour time limit, meeting. Even if I went really slow, there was aid the entire 8 hours. Yeah. I confirmed many times with the race director on when do you guys pull the aid? Because I've been at the end of races where there is no support. There's not even a finish line, and I'm still way under the time limit. I wasn't in the middle of the pack. Yeah, and it's hard. It was just finding a race that could work, and it was. I am 100% going to do it again next year, and just I will never say enough. It's Y Racing Events in Vancouver, Washington. They do so many races. They have amazing support. I can never say enough things about them.
That's great. So when did you actually sign up for this one?
I want to say it was, let's see, this is September. I'm going to cheat and look at my email.
I'm just trying to gauge how long were you looking forward? Like how long have, all right, I have a marathon coming. I got to train for this. Well, it sounds like you didn't.
I think it was about the 20 weeks out. So.
Okay. So you had some time, but it wasn't like it was a year out and.
No, I've always been told to give yourself at least 6 months. And I think it was I want to say 4 months ago or something like that, crazy, where it was one of those where I just decided, okay, I was toying around the idea. I threw it out on a running page that I'm on. I was like, hey, I'm looking for a marathon that's 8-hour time limit. Do anybody have any ideas?
Yep.
And my friend Brenda reached out to me and was just like, hey, Why Racing Events does this one? It's 8 hours. It's in September. I'm like, that's plenty of time to train.
That's great. And you make a really good point about reaching out to the race director and making sure we actually, and I don't know if you know Martinez Evans from 300 Pounds and Running, but
I've paid for many of his race registrations. I paid for one for his birthday. And a part of a bet. But.
Oh, all right. So we love Martinez here. So I had Martinez on because he rails against this exact thing. Like it's his job. It probably is his job.
I wish it was my job.
So he was very adamant about, contacting race directors and about them pulling the aid stations too early, about them, not necessarily shutting down the finish lines, I guess, but most of them will, from what I understand, most events will have a time limit. So say your time limit is 6 hours, and they will start dismantling stuff at 6 hours. So you might lose your aid stations, and they might open up the streets to traffic and get pushed to the sidewalk. I've been pushed to the sidewalk myself. But the very last thing they will try to do and keep up the longest is the finish line, so that you still have a chance to finish and get a medal. And I've seen people cross the finish and no medals left, and I've seen
been there.
Yeah, and one race I was at that the people that were handing out the medals, they were all done and they just left, and there was a box of medals in the corner. So the people had to kind of get through and go and get their own medal, which I thought was kind of, and that was a half marathon, and they were probably about 3:15 finish. So it wasn't really that bad. Yeah, it wasn't that bad. But someone should stay. One person. I know, New York City Marathon, that guy will stay. Someone will stay there until the last person crosses, and they will keep that finish line up, and you'll get pushed to the sidewalk and stuff like that, and they will take down the aid stations. But if you can make it those 26.2, someone will be there to put a medal around your neck, and someone will be there to cheer you on. I actually think they have it like sort of a club now of people that come down, and I do think that's a really good idea. So I think you were really smart to do your homework, and it sounds like. All right, so now it's kind of, I guess, try to use that as a segue to the next part. So you're obviously not a shy person.
What? No, I'm the shyest person you'll ever meet.
Right. You're obviously not a shy person. Yet when you started this marathon, and I saw how you were kind of talking about it online, I sensed like that you were sort of being reserved and kind of lowering expectations for yourself, saying that you were going to walk the whole thing and, 8 hours. I don't care. I just want to finish, which is just wanting to finish is a tremendous goal in itself. Were you nervous? Were you concerned? I don't know. It's like, this is your first marathon. I just, I sense that you're the kind of person that would be so excited. What was the sort of trepidation there?
Here's the funny thing with me is I come off as a super confident person, and something I've realized is I set expectations really, really high, and then when I don't hit them, you get that disappointment. So I figure if I set the expectations really low, talking with everybody, that's why I did a race, I did it walked, so that there was still that excitement of doing a race, but at the same time, I have been crippled with injury since 2015, so there's always a chance of being injured, not being able to do it. So I didn't want to hype it up in case I wasn't able to do it. Worse, I was even up until a couple days before, it was one of those, I talk about this on my pages. I've got a little person on one shoulder and a little person on the other. You've got that voice in your head telling you can't do this. You need to quit. You need to stop. And that person in my head up until, I would say about 2 days before, was sitting there going, if anything, you've got a 6-day vacation in one of your favorite parts of the country. Let's just enjoy this vacation, enjoy the time off, and you're spending it with an amazing person, and it's going to be fun, and we'll just cheer on people and just hang out there and do it. I had that mentality until the 5K the night before, when I had all the excuses in my head on why I was not going to do this. And it was simply because I have that voice in my head. And I think that's the reason I really downplayed it, was it's that person having that doubt, having that, am I actually going to do this? And that's why if you go to my page and you see my video, I'm absolutely all smiles, because I realized so I had never run more than 14. I told you this. I've never ran more than 14 miles ever.
Yep.
Even in training, scheduled for 20 miles, I did 9.
I've been there.
One, because I was told because I dropped 6,000 feet in elevation, I didn't need to train as hard. I just need to get my legs going. Realize that's not true. You definitely need to get your miles in, because if you're an injured runner, you need to train. So,
well, you need to practice being on your feet. It's like, I think that's part of my problem too, is like I get to a certain time and it doesn't matter how fast I'm going or slow I'm going, everything just starts to hurt, Mm-hmm. It's like you're out there for 7 hours. It hurts.
It was funny because it was just keeping that mentality of, so I got going and it was a 2-loop course. So I got through that first loop and I remember coming up on it, be like, holy crap, we're doing this.
Yeah.
And it has a shoot off to the left where the marathoners go. And I'm like, I don't care if I'm dead last. I know there was a lady behind me, so I'm like, okay, I'm not dead last, and this is going to be awesome. I'm going to do this. I got going, and there's a video of me like throwing everything at my boyfriend, because we'd figured out, thanks to Jen Bergstrom, who's in this page, how to switch out everything and fueling and all this. And so there's a video of me just like throwing my water bottles on my boyfriend. I'm just like, I've got water. I'm good. Just give me my fuel. And I was determined and set to finish it at that point. And that was the moment I realized, holy bleep, I'm going to be a marathoner. I am going to finish this. And
halfway through,
my body fell apart about mile 18.
Yeah.
And at that point, it was just straight. I've got Beyonce in my head. I've got Misdemeanor. I've got all this music just pumping. That's keeping my beat. That's keeping my motivation. It's right at the beat I wanted to keep at the pace. I remember keeping an eye on my Garmin, keeping my pace up. Every time I'd start slowing down, I'd start speeding up, and really getting into the mind state of be in the mile that you're in. And it was just simply, okay, I did my little bit of running. Where's the next mile marker? And that's really kept me going through, and just thinking about, I've got a lot of influential people as friends that are just, I reached out to them the week before and was just like, any advice you have? And all of them said, get done with it, get the addiction in, and go on to your second one. Go on to an ultra. So most of them said.
God.
50K is next. So, and it's just getting through, and it's getting rid of that little inner mean girl that's sitting on your shoulder and flicking her off.
Yeah, I tell you, what, for someone who went out at a marathon, wondering, looking at that 8 hour cutoff, and then finishing in 7, it sounds like, you a little bit better than expectations, and you probably did a little more running than you thought, or at least you expressed to everybody in advance. Let's talk about the weather.
I was in love when I saw, so the weather I've been checking, of course, 10 days out, you can.
Yeah, there's a 30-day forecast. I don't want to show you that page.
It was a high of 77 and partially cloudy, which I lived in Pacific Northwest for 8 years. Love it. I'm now in Denver. It's been 90 something, miserable. Fat girls don't do heat. So I was like, cool, 77, 75, somewhere in there is going to be great. And then I slowly saw that there's going to be rain. And then I saw, okay, it's a high of 70 and it's a high of 65. That day, it was very misty, light rain in the beginning. By the end, it was a downpour, 60 degrees, and I was in heaven. That marathon I talked about where I PR'd, my second marathon, or my half marathon, sorry. All this lingo I got to learn now. My second half marathon, it was the same weather, and I just remember thinking, I loved it then. I love running in the rain. I love the wet. My friend Lisa, who was a coach of mine, who did my first 10K with me, she put it in your head, it's instant air conditioning. And I think that really kept me going. My feet were squished by mile 1. Everything was wet. Using a porta potty was fun, which I've never done.
Why use a porta potty if it's pouring rain?
No. I never used a porta potty during a race until this race. So that was more new experiences. Yeah,
Stephanie will not go into one of those. She just will not.
You know what? When you're about to pee your pants and you're at mile 6, you do.
I think she did a marathon with me, and we woke up at like 4 a.m. and we got stuck outside, and she couldn't, there was nothing to use, and she wouldn't
squat.
Yeah. She finished the whole marathon.
Oh, sweetie, no.
I think it was more of a feat to hold it in for, how many hours, like 12 hours that she held it in, than it was to actually finish the marathon.
So my finish time was 7 hours 8 minutes, and I joked that I would have been under 7 minutes if I didn't have to pee.
You might have been. You might have been. I mean, all those wet clothes you got to get back on. I mean, that's at least 5 minutes right there.
There was a lot of, oh my God, I'm just gonna go. My mom taught me what we call the pioneer squat, and I'm like, I don't care who's gonna see my white behind. I'm gonna squat. I'm gonna go. And then I was like, no, I gotta be decent. There's people at this point. When it got down to just me, I was like, I'd probably go down. But
so the blisters, how bad were the blisters? When did the pain start coming? I mean, obviously it's raining. That's probably part of it, right? You've probably never dealt with this.
With the rain, I've dealt with rain many times. With blisters, I get blisters when I do more than 10 miles or more. It doesn't matter the socks, doesn't matter the shoes, doesn't matter. My form is great. I have two massive ones. I remember feeling the first one about mile 5.
That's early.
And it's one that hits right where your toe hits the ball of your foot, that section. And it's between those two toes. So I can't do flip flops like somebody suggested because it's there. I felt the other two on the other foot about mile 10 or so. And I really was feeling them those moments I had to run. My hip was hurting. I was more distracted by my hip pain, which went away when I ran. So I love running because then I was pain-free, honestly. But it was one of those, I knew it was going to happen. It happens, and then as soon as we got done. Yeah. I mean, I walk like an old woman right now just because I still 3 days out. They're worse, but they go away.
And I got to tell you, I've heard like two things. I've heard, you got to put baby powder in your shoes and on your feet, and then I've heard you got to actually use that, Aquaphor or something, chafing cream or something, on your. So I don't even know what to do. I never had blisters either until my last race.
So I know I use the anti-chafing. So Monistat anti-chafing, ladies, it's great. Myrna Valerio, aka the Myrnavator, suggested that, and it's great and it's amazing and it worked. I got chafing in places you wouldn't think of, like where the bra band rubs, where I was wearing shorts, where my short, like tiny little scars on the inside of my thighs and the outside, just tiny, tiny, tiny little pricks where it rubbed there. Otherwise, I had no chafing issues, which any runner knows. If you get bad ones,
it could put you out. Yeah, it could put you out. It's not fun.
Donut pillow.
I don't know what that is. I don't know if I want to know what that is.
When you have, anyway. When your bum hurts.
All right. Oh, okay. I gotcha. All right. That wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. So
in my head it is.
All right. So you're running, you're going out on the second loop. Now, here's what I'm wondering, because I've had this issue with races before too, and I'm doing the first time at a new distance, and I feel like I'm just out there to finish, and I hit a point where all of a sudden you go from, I don't know that I'm going to finish, I'm not so sure, and all of a sudden you're like, yeah, I'm going to finish, I got this thing down, and all of a sudden it's like you can kind of celebrate inside, and then when you get to the finish, it's like it's tempered because you've already celebrated once you realize you were going to make it. Now, how was it for you? But from the moment you knew at that half marathon point that you were going to make it, you were going to be a marathoner on this day, how was that feeling versus when you actually crossed the finish line?
Jeremy Farrington, who's in our group, had told me, if anything, just keep telling yourself, I'm a marathoner. I'm completing a marathon. And that was my motto the entire time. When I hit mile 12 was probably the time I realized, holy bleep, I'm going to do this. But at the same time, like you said, you kind of have it, but my inner mean girl tells me you need to just let's wait it out because you never know. My boyfriend had my insurance card in case I had to go to the med tent, and it wasn't. I think it was when I hit about mile 20.
Yeah.
When I finally was just like, the guy, because I was last place, I had a personal escort. And I was telling him, I'm like, okay, that's mile 20. I've only got a 5K left. I could do a 5K. And so it was like that excitement of, and it was, I would say out loud probably every couple feet, I'm a marathoner. I am doing a marathon. And it was just like, and I'm still like in my head out loud, like, holy bleep, I did a marathon. And that's why all my posts are like, I'm a marathoner. Because it's still saying it. It's not hitting. It's not, it's just another race. It just was a little bit longer.
Yeah.
It's not.
But it's such a good, isn't it? It rings so nice. Doesn't it ring so nicely? It's like, you're a marathoner now. You did it. You crossed that finish line.
So,
have you taken off the medal yet?
Yeah, I didn't pull a Jeremy and wear it for 4 days. It was soaking wet, so I just took it off and packed it away. And I do have up on my cubicle. They give you a little printout certificate that says Sarah Gallegos marathoner 7:08:14, and it's up on my cubicle. And I did get a lot of questions about how'd it go, blah, blah, blah. And it's just, from a big girl standpoint, when you tell somebody, yeah, I ran a marathon, they kind of look at you like, really? Did you Netflix marathon? What kind of marathon did you do? And I always tell them, I was like, no, I did. They're like, how far is a marathon? This was a lot of before. And they're like, oh, so you're doing a marathon. How far is a marathon? Like 26 miles. Like, why? You get the question of, why are you doing this? And my answer for everything is because I can.
Yeah.
I have had, part of my story is I had a dear friend of mine was murdered by her husband, who was an avid runner. And I did Rock and Roll Marathon, or the race last year, and did a news report. And the lady came up to me and she's like, why are you doing this race? I said, because I can and she can't. So I do it for those that can't. I do it because I can, because there's so many others around me in my circle that use the excuses of I can't. I can't do that. Yeah. And I simply do it because I can, because I know there might be a day when I can't do it. Yeah. And I want to look back and be like, I did it because I could.
My favorite is, why would I want to do that?
Mm-hmm. Why do you want to do that? Why would anybody want to run a marathon? And that question comes up a lot. It's like, before you do, you're like, why would anybody want to run a marathon? It's just like, why would you not do a road trip across the United States? Well, it's something to do.
and I think kind of like my answer has over the years has just become, I don't get angry, upset anymore. It's like, you know what, if you don't understand it, then you just never will. If you don't, it's like, once you've done it, once you're in this, once you get that in your mind that you want to do it, there's a reason why. And it's just, it's just an accomplishment that it goes on your resume forever, and that's your thing. You're part of the 1% of the people in the world that actually finished, which is really cool when you think about it.
So weird.
Yeah.
I was saying that in my head too. Is like, I am part of this elite group of skinny, fit, athletic people. And you look at, me and I have a couple other friends that are marathoners, and you're just like, oh. And so that's why it's like, part of me is like, I did a marathon. Great. Now I want to do more to kind of solidify I am meant to be here. I am meant to do this. I am meant to hold this title.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. All right. So you crossed the finish line. When did you? It seemed like you already kind of had it in your mind. I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do another one, and then I'm going to do a 50K, and then I'm going to do. What? When does it stop?
When like I said, I'm injured, and so when I get to the point where I physically can't anymore, there's always 1Ks. There's 5Ks. There's just simply walking around the block, being able to walk. I see those videos of these old 90-year-old women doing races. That's going to be me. I already planned my second marathon about a month ago.
Okay, so which one's this one?
It probably will end up being like my fourth or fifth one, but it's going to be Honolulu 2020.
Oh, wow.
So again, I did my research, and Honolulu does not have a time limit. They keep up the finish line and everything until the last person. In 2018, the final finisher finished in 17 hours.
Wow. And
there is an entire group. There's a whole entire thing. And being the last person of a race and having that support, I had a guy with me on a bike for the last 7 miles. And I remember listening on the radio. I'm like, where are you guys at? Because there was somebody in front of me, but he was, about 5-6 minutes ahead of me, 79-year-old man, good for him. And, seeing you have these turnarounds. So you got to see people as you went by, and you got to see the four times you got to see him, because there's 2 loops. And so it was kind of cool seeing him. And there was 2 people at the end with me. And I just remember one girl, she was hauling butt. And I told her every time I saw her, I'm like, Jill, you are an inspiration. You are keeping me going. And so, of course, we're at the finish line. There's no other runners. Everybody's taken off and thinking this is the best feeling ever, but I just want to get to my hotel room and collapse. But I need to keep moving. So I actually walked to my hotel room after the race.
That's the worst part. I think the worst part is once you're done, especially, when you spend a really like a good portion. I think I finished New York a couple years ago in like probably like 7:15, and I did a lot of walking that day. And then New York, when you finish, there's the 27th mile. I don't know if you ever heard of this, but once you finish, you have to walk out of the park, and it's like you just finished 26.2. What's it? And then you got to do another one, and then if your hotel is, there's always traffic. You can never get a cab because all the roads are closed for the marathon. So it's like, it's just like more miles. But it's the miles after once you're done, they're okay.
I just knew that if I stopped, I was going to hurt.
Right.
And so, and again, doing research, I'm hearing a lot of just keep your body moving, lots of stretching. So our hotel was like half mile away, and I think there's a picture up somewhere online of I've got my foil blanket, I'm walking on the freeway, and my boyfriend's driving up in the rental car taking pictures. And it was just one of those, like, he's like, are you sure? And I'm like, I've got to walk. I've got to keep moving. And I told him, like, he's in the car. I was like, go fill up the bathtub, put cold water in it. That's the first thing I did is got in the hotel room, kicked my shoes off, and sat in the tub. And trying to, my muscles are so sore, getting that going, getting that your body after a race. I'm not a light person. I put a lot of stuff on my body, and so it's the recuperation's a little longer. These people that do a marathon, and then my first thought was people that do dopey challenge are dopey because I don't know how the crap you do.
Yeah, no, I hear you. It's amazing how some people do that. Yeah, they just 5K, 10K, half full in 4 days. It's I know people have done it, and it's interesting because when you do your first marathon, you kind of do the research. They always tell you, afterwards. I mean, I heard rule of thumb. I think rule of thumb was you take a day off for every mile of your race. So if you did a half, you're going to take like 2 weeks off, and if you do a full, you're going to take almost four.
I will take until my blisters are gone.
Yeah, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. Although I got to tell you, my blisters from my July 28th race. They're not that. I mean, I still have some dead skin going on there. It's just they linger.
Mine's until they stop hurting.
Yeah, exactly. They'll stop hurting. Well,
those are, and because it was raining for 7 hours.
Yep.
There's
they
a
got
lot of
worse.
blisters.
They got worse. Yeah. That's terrible. So, all right. So now we're done. We're done with with your first marathon. That's incredible, by the way. Congratulations again. That is just. I'm so proud of you. That's amazing. It's just I love stories like this. I love stories where like I never thought I could do it, and then you go and you do it, and you just I want to say prove everyone wrong. I don't know how many people were saying you couldn't do it, but
I'm related to him.
Yeah, you gotta love that. But it's awesome when you see someone kind of just work hard and you said you lost 120 pounds. It's all. I don't know. I love it. I love the story. Honolulu 2020. First of all, we got to write that on the Team Ordinary calendar. I don't think you told me about that one. Did you tell me about that one?
I've got a couple people that are. I have some pretty good friends, followers, friends, whatever you can call them, people I've known for years, and I've got 2 friends so far that we're definitely going with me. It's kind of going to be like a girls' trip.
Yeah.
2020 is the year I turned 40. So it's going to be a year of big races. I want to do, probably will end up doing a marathon in April. I got 6 months.
Yeah.
I got time to properly kind of train.
Are you? Yeah. So is it, how much do you look at something like that and you say, I just want to finish again? Or do you start thinking, all right, I got to do a little bit better than last time?
I've learned, and I've said I needed to do this, but chaos of life happened. Life will be settled by then. We'll be in our new home. Are moving. We'll be in. Yeah, we're moving from Denver to Richmond, Virginia. So if anybody's from Richmond and can help me out, let me know. We're moving out, new area, low elevation, which hugely helps when you have asthma. It's a new environment. It's a new opportunity. I'm kind of seeing it as this new chance to grow and develop. And that we're moving temporarily to a small little town. And first thing I did was research where are the trails. We've got an 8-month-old puppy. I want to get her out and used to running with me. So I can't do high mileage because of her. And so it's been kind of nice. Yeah, my noodle doodle. So
I used to run with my dog too, and he's a pretty athletic breed, but the problem is he runs too hard and he pulls. And I used to take him for 3 miles, and the first mile he would pull me, and the second mile he'd be absolutely fine, and we'd have a nice pleasant mile, and then the third mile I'd be pulling him.
I had a dog. He now lives with my sister. It's a little Chihuahua mix. He was my running buddy forever. We would do like 10, 11 mile runs, and he'd come home and still have energy. And he's one of those that I had to keep up faster because if I started walking, he'd have to stop to pee on everything. So it kind of kept me like,
good pace. Good pacing.
I love interval running. I found an interval that works, and I'd use that in my training. And I've done it for years, and I love it. And he kind of knows it too. With him, I had the cues, so I'm kind of learning with teaching her. These are the cues of, okay, we're about to walk. Okay, we're about to run.
Yeah.
Or with him, it was, are you ready? He was actually a service dog for me. So it's teaching her how to do these things. She's 8 months old. She really shouldn't be doing long mileage anyway. So it's working out.
Good.
And she's a black dog, so I'm really not going to take her out in this heat right now.
Yeah. Well, that's good. It's good. It's always good to have that little pal to run with,
Well, dogs, if you don't have a kid in a stroller, you got a dog. I mean, dogs are the best excuse to go out for a run. You can't have a cat as running partner.
Yeah.
Sorry, people.
That would be interesting. I don't think I've ever seen that. You have?
5K had dogs and strollers and cats and strollers. And
that's terrible.
Just because it says strollers allowed does not mean cats and strollers.
Cats and strollers. I guess it counts. I'm sure my cat would love to be pushed in a stroller. They're spoiled.
Cats are germs.
Yeah. Anyway.
But no, it's just you find what you love and you do what you love and you be who you are. And my number one lesson with this marathon is something I've said from day one of running. If you believe you can do it, do it. Don't prove others wrong, prove yourself wrong. Prove that little voice in your head that is saying, I can't do this, to say, holy crud, I just did that. Let's do it again.
Yeah, I love that. That sounds great. That's a great message. All right. So we have hopefully a marathon for you in April. Then we have Honolulu. By the way, you move into Virginia, you just like tripled the flight to Honolulu. And
that's okay. It's
still worth it, huh?
I always joke that it's going to be we're going to delay a honeymoon. So we're going to have a honeymoon runcation.
There you go.
And I had to make sure, I'm like, are you okay with that? Of course he is. So it's Honolulu.
Well, so the plan, the problem for me when I do these runcations is like, I never know what's the proper amount of time to put. Do you want most of the vacation after the marathon when you're kind of like, you can celebrate, but you just did a marathon, or do you want it before the marathon so you can get there, kind of get settled? The problem then becomes, like, I just remember getting off the plane in Florida 3 days before my marathon, and as soon as I got off the plane, there was like a margarita stand, and I'm like, ooh, I really want one of those. But I didn't have it.
It goes good with tacos, tequila.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
So that's what I learned, and that's why we did it the way we did it, is because this marathon was on Sunday. We flew into Seattle on Wednesday, and then that was my cross training, walking around Seattle.
You preloaded. You preloaded.
I got my mileage in. I don't drink alcohol the week of races.
Yeah.
I really kind of do better at watching what I eat, just because my stomach is questionable because of allergies, and so I really just was still in the mindset of, it's a week before a marathon. I'm still in that training. I don't want to overdo it. My back started hurting. We stopped walking for the day. It was one of those, I want to take care of my body for this race. The 5K the night before was fun and slow, and I got to know that big hill. And it was that, for me, that was my cross training. It was, my cross training was lifting giant railroad ties in the yard, or digging dirt, or hauling rock. It wasn't putting in mileage, which is probably one of my biggest regrets, but that's in the past.
It's kind of something that, you can work on that next time, Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
More gym time. I have a gym membership that I don't use. It's a heavy guard.
So, I'm really looking forward to seeing how you do in this next one. I think, I think that now that you've had the experience of one, I think, I think you're going to know a little bit better how to train for it the second time around. Mm-hmm. And I think, number two, which I think is really important, is that now you're going to know what to expect.
Now I'm going to Philly for the half marathon. So it's a Philly marathon, but my friend
this year or next this year?
November. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I already told you about this.
Yeah. I just forget because we're actually doing the Philly marathon next year. But go ahead.
So because we'll live on the East Coast, I can take the train up and it'll be fun. And my friends are all joking. When are you going to switch from the half to the full? They know me, so I'm pretty sure I'll probably do a full before April.
Yeah.
If I find a good one. I'm learning about all these different ones I need to sign up for in 2020. Like Marine Corps Marathon is a great one. Flying Pig. Yeah. All these East Coast races that, the worst enabler is a runner. Because they're like, oh, you did a marathon?
They'll give you a list. Yeah, they'll give you a list of.
They will. And my thing will always be, though, is I want to have a race. I've learned now minimum 8-hour limit, 7 hours maybe, because I don't want to feel like. My thing is I don't want to feel rushed. I didn't want to feel like, well, what's the point? One of the marathons I was signed up for that I dropped down to was one that Denver has one marathon. It's Colfax Marathon. It has a 6-hour limit, a strict 6-hour limit because it's on major roads. I mean, it's on Colfax Avenue. And being an ambassador for that and learning the backside of it, I realized I signed up for the full and realized pretty early on, there's no way. I don't want to push myself. I don't want to stress about it. With the attitude of, just walk on the sidewalks. It'll be fine. And then realizing, well, crap, I don't want to go through that pressure. So I dropped to the half and I ended up doing it with a couple friends. And I walked that one just to kind of get an idea of what would my walking half be. And like I posted, my walking half during this marathon, I PR'd by 9 minutes. So wow. It was one. I also probably did more running because I did a straight walk for that half. But that was I hadn't done a race. That was May. So I hadn't done a race since May.
Yeah. I'm kind of like that too. I do big races and I don't really fill them in with local races, smaller races. I kind of like get the big goals in mind and then I just go after those. It sounds like you're kind of like that too. I will say that the Marine Corps Marathon that you mentioned, they have. So you have to make 22 miles by averaging a 14-minute pace. Which we're actually doing that race this year. I've done it once before. It's a great race. Don't get me wrong. It's a wonderful race. Yeah. It's just, that does throw a little bit of pressure on it. And it's kind of like, so a 14-minute is like a 6-hour pace anyway. So similar to Colfax, what you were saying. Yeah,
it would be, and see, that's things that I would research. So that right there pulls out for me.
Yeah. But by next October, maybe you'd be down there.
I realize I've got to lose some weight before I get that speed. But
New York is a possibility for you,
I usually put in for the lottery for big races: Boston, New York, Chicago. Yeah, just not one of those. Why the hell not? Throw it in there. If I make it great. If I need to raise money, I know I've got the support. And it's just fighting fun ones. You go and rock and roll marathons, just more fun races. I am kind of sad to say I'm done with Colorado races because I'm not going to move away and come back and do a marathon. So it was kind of sad knowing that my last race was my last Colorado race. Yeah. But because I've had a great time here and it's been an amazing opportunity learning about new races. But this chapter is closing and there's a new chapter and new opportunities and new friends. So.
Yeah, it's a good way to look at it. I'd be excited about it,
Yeah. Learn that from my daughter.
I'm an East Coaster. We're not all bad out here. You'll be fine. Yeah. Listen, I want to thank you for coming on the show, Sarah. This was awesome.
Thanks, Scott. I appreciate the time. Thank you for letting me blow.
No, you're great. You're great. And again, congratulations so much on this marathon. I feel like you are like this has just sort of opened up a Pandora's box for you. And this is just it's like a parasite. It just keeps building on itself and, and expanding.
I think when it finally hits that holy flip, I did it. And you have those doubts, you have the can I do it? And now that I've done it, it's like, oh.
Yeah. You are a marathoner. You are a marathoner.
I think I'll probably do a 50K before I do another marathon just to.
Excellent. Yeah, you got to
I'll find one in Virginia.
It's only like an extra what? It's only an extra 5 miles. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
That's it.
You can do 26. You can do another 5.
The blisters get twice as big, but You'll be
No,
fine.
it's only 5 miles. Yeah, so that'll probably be for my birthday is do a 50K for my 40th. Why not?
I thought Honolulu was your 40th.
No, my birthday's in April. Honolulu's December.
All right. You got a marathon. Well, you got to get the schedule down. You're gonna have to consult.
I sign up for races 2 weeks before they happen.
Consult with Bergstrom. Bergstrom knows all the races.
Okay. She got me into this group. She is what we're actually going to go out for drinks on Saturday. But
she's great. She's been a guest here a couple times.
She's fun. She's a hoot. She came to a barbecue. We're just going to sit and talk racing. So I feel sorry for her husband.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks so much for coming on, and I look forward to hearing how you're going to do. And come April, come Honolulu time, all that good stuff. Seeing what races you get into next year, and I'm sure we'll be able to see it all on Shrinking Tacos.
Yes, taco. There's only one of me.
Awesome. Shrinking Taco. I should know that.
Shrinking Taco.
I just, you know what it is? I can never eat just one taco, so I'm just used to it. Doesn't roll off the tongue as nicely.
Yeah. My email is Shrinking Tacos, which throws
okay. There you go.
There was originally, we were called the Two Tacos.
Oh, okay. Got it. Got it. All right. Sure. Well, we got it all. We got it all down. Shrinking Taco. Ladies and gentlemen. Awesome. All right. So we're going to end it in. We'll wrap things up. We'll be back again next week. I think we're going to have Laura Stebbins on the show. She's been a guest a couple times, and we're overdue to have her back. I'm trying to drag Melissa Kahn back in for an episode, and we'll see how it goes. We got a lot of good plans. Team Ordinary rolling out in the next couple days, and we'll see how that goes too. So thank you guys all for showing up and listening. And again, thanks so much, Sarah, for coming. Sarah Gallegos for coming on the show. Shrinking Taco. Check her out. And remember, every day is an ordinary day unless you make it extraordinary. So get after it, guys.
Remember to like our video and subscribe to our channel.